Hey guys, and welcome to another one of my videos. Today we're gonna have a look at whether it's worth doing the 5-man dungeons that are not timed dungeons. More specifically, we're gonna look at Temple of Lies, Sundered Sanctuary, and Altar of Blood. In this video, we'll weigh in the drops that you can possibly get from these dungeons, and whether or not it's worth spending the time in the queue and in the dungeon to actually get these items. This is from a ranger's perspective, but the drops that you get are pretty similar to every class. Before we move on though, just want to make sure that everybody knows how to look inside the chest. You simply open the bag and go to where your chest is. Afterwards hit X and then view options on it. That will pop a window and you can have a look at everything you can get for your class from that particular chest. With that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about Temple of Lies. Unlike the other dungeons on this list, this is a layer, which means that you are not guaranteed a chest when you actually finish this dungeon. As a matter of fact, you'll see that I've done it twice without getting an actual chest at the end. The dungeon itself is not very difficult, provided you have enough DPS, but if you don't have high enough players with high enough gear, this is gonna be a real pain. The good thing about it though is that you don't have any trash mobs or anything to deal with since it's a lair. That means you can come in, get the kill and get out in under 2 minutes easily. That brings up to the next point about this dungeon. It's not very easy to get inside Temple of Lies because not that many people want to queue for it. There are two main reasons why people don't want to queue this dungeon very often. And as I mentioned before, one of them is because you are not guaranteed a chest. And the second reason is that this can be very difficult if you don't have enough DPS to get through the stages. The last point that I wanted to make about queuing this dungeon is the fact that you need this particular dungeon in order to progress through your campaigns. Now that can also be detrimental because a lot of people choose to grind their levels and not go through the campaigns. Temple of Lies also require you to have level 30, and it doesn't give you any warrior talents when you open the chest. So, in conclusion, is it worth doing Temple of Lies? Well, not really, not unless there's double chest, because if there is double chest, when you do get a chest, instead of getting one, you get two. But the main reason why people want to do this particular instance is because of the Ring of the Whispering Serpent God, which sells for quite a lot on the marketplace, so good luck getting yours. Next up is Sundered Sanctuary. This is probably one of the longest dungeons in our list, but possibly the most worth it, at least for archers. This party that you'll see in these clips is what you typically get when you queue Sundered Sanctuary. A lot of relatively new players that don't know the mechanics and they don't have great gear. So unless you're queuing up with your guildies or friends, this won't be anywhere close to a speed run or anything like that. Meaning that if you do choose to farm this dungeon, don't be surprised of people that don't know the mechanics or of people that don't have great gear. Just take your time and be patient with everybody because they're new. Now, compared to Temple of Lies, people do queue this dungeon, but for different reasons. One of them is the fact that unlike Temple of Lies, this guarantees you a chest every time you finish it. On top of which, the chest that you actually get is pretty decent. Adding the fact that you earn warrior talents when you open these chests, give it a pretty good reason why you would want to farm this dungeon. As I said before though, it can be pretty time consuming if you go with a random group instead of your guildies or friends. You only need 915 gear score and level 28 in order to be eligible to participate in this dungeon. Part of the reason why there's not that many people wanting to queue for Sundered Sanctuary is, like I said before, it can be very time consuming. And it makes it pretty difficult for new players to get through the DPS checks. Another reason why this can be very time consuming is because you have tons and tons of trash mobs that you have to go through every time before you reach the next boss. So let's have a look at what you can possibly get from Sundered Sanctuary. First up is the Tropical Ostrich. This, in my opinion, is one of the most coolest mounts, but it's a shame that he only has 2 speeds. It's part of the Can We Keep It trial, and you get the title Animal Rescue if you complete it. This is a reward from the chest that you can acquire no matter what class you're playing. So whether you're doing this dungeon on a ranger or a priest or even mage, it doesn't matter. You still get a chance of getting the Tropical Ostrich. Now lastly, the main reason why people want to do this, particularly on rangers, is because they want to get their bloody shoulder guards. And no, I'm not upset with the shoulder guards, it's just their name. The roll on these range from 13.5 to 27% critical hit damage, which means that there's a lot of people that want the max roll on these because 27% critical hit damage is quite a lot. And that's why you'll see a lot of rangers in this dungeon, simply because they want their bloody shoulder guards. There's one more thing that I wanted to mention about the chests that you get from Sundered Sanctuary. Now, while the other rewards are nice, the ostrich and the bloody shoulder guards, you do get quite a lot of interesting cosmetic overrides. One of them is the Count's headdress, which is basically a face mask that looks real cool. So, is it worth doing Sundered Sanctuary? Yes, because of the bloody shoulder guards with max roll. Last on our list is Ultra Blood. Now, first off, you won't see that many rangers in here, and that's mainly because, as you're about to find out, there's not that many things that drop for rangers in here. I have seen a lot of berserkers doing this, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's their chest piece or something. You guys can let me know in the comments below why berserkers run the Ultra Blood. But anyway, most people run this because it's a level 26 dungeon and it gives you warrior talents. So if you're low level and you're trying to get enough warrior talents to buy your blind executioner fragment, then this is the place to go. It's not as fast as Temple of Lies, but is much quicker than Sundered Sanctuary. The bosses in here are not very difficult. The one that usually stands out is the first one because it can kill a lot of new players with their watchers. The last boss of Ultra Blood doesn't have anything special other than his name. Vasilios is very easy to predict and very easy to dodge. Now, let's have a look at what kind of rewards you can expect from Ultra Blood. First up is the Black Sheep. Now, just like the ostrich, anybody can get this regardless of their class. I think it looks okay, I'm not really that much into it. And again, just like the ostrich, you need it for the Animal Rescue title. Lastly, it's the Quiver of an Old Hero, which is a pretty decent quiver, but most people prefer the Quiver of the Forgotten Knights. As a matter of fact, my budget build uses this quiver because it is nice, the attack power is nice, and they're very cheap, so meaning if you do choose this over the Quiver of the Forgotten Knights, you can get it to Mythic 5 pretty cheaply. And that, guys, concludes our video for today. If there are any dungeons that are not time dungeons that you guys enjoy, please let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.